Discover the amazing secrets to finding calmness and strength, 5 life-changing lessons revealed. In the quaint town of Maplewood, where every corner radiated familiarity, life took a cruel twist for Sarah. Just as she balanced her hectic life as a single mother of 2, the unthinkable happened. She lost her job at the local diner, the lifeblood of her family. With each bill that landed on the kitchen counter, a tightness gripped her chest, the weight of failure heavier than the darkness closing in. Facing the echoes of her empty purse, she felt the eyes of 12-year-old Lily and 7-year-old Max swirl with worry, their innocence clashing with the looming dread of uncertainty. The din of laughter from neighboring homes felt like a cruel reminder of her struggle, a symphony she couldn't join. Sarah wore her worries like a second skin. It was hard to hide the tension that seeped into the very walls of their modest home. She often caught herself lost in thoughts of what ifs. What if the rent was late? What if they had to move? What if she wasn't enough? But each time she locked eyes with her children, she felt a flicker of resolve. They needed her, and deep down, she needed to believe she could weather this storm. From his porch, Mr. Thompson, the retired veteran, had been silently observing the story unfold. He admired Sarah's grit as she juggled it all, store-bought crayons scattered on the kitchen table and laundry piled high, while keeping the light of hope shining in Lily and Max's eyes. He had seen many trials in his life, but he recognized something special in her struggle. When the annual Maplewood Fair loomed on the horizon, Mr. Thompson approached Sarah with a gentle smile. "You know, sharing your journey could inspire others," he whispered, eyes sparkling with warmth. "This fair is about healing and being together, just as much as it is about fun." At first, Sarah hesitated. Could she really do it? But in that moment, her heart thrummed with a sense of purpose. Here was her chance not just to escape, but to reclaim her spirit. As she embraced the idea, she found herself learning vital lessons from Mr. Thompson and other local mentors. They guided her toward calmness and strength in ways she never imagined, the power of vulnerability, the beauty of community, and the resilience rooted within every individual. Each lesson peeled back layers of her self-doubt, bringing a clarity that felt refreshing. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as Sarah felt her newfound confidence grow, disaster struck. Funding for the fair started to dwindle, threatening the community's cherished event. She stepped into the spotlight as the spokesperson, her heart racing with nerves. Doubts echoed in her mind. Could she rally the town? Would they believe in her? Whispers of skepticism tumbled around her, fueling her insecurities. With the stakes higher than ever and the financial deadline looming, Sarah grappled with self-doubt, not just for herself, but for Lily and Max, who saw her as their anchor. As the night of the fair approached, Sarah hovered at the edge of her fears, torn between letting her past define her and rising into the promising glow of a new future. Would she unearth the strength within her to turn their story around, or would the shadows of her failures lead them deeper into despair? The community held its breath, and so did she, ready to face this ultimate test head-on. The day of the Maplewood Fair dawned bright and clear, sunlight spilling over the rooftops like golden syrup. Sarah could hear the excited chatter of children and the distant sound of carnival music wafting through her open window. Today felt different. It was as if the air itself was charged with hope. Yet beneath the shimmering surface, a storm brewed in her heart. She stepped into the shower, where the hot water washed over her, carrying away some of the weight she felt on her shoulders. Dressed in her favorite blue sundress, Sarah caught a glimpse of herself in the bathroom mirror. The tired lines around her eyes told their own story, but today they also hinted at determination. She had come too far to turn back now. The fundraising goal loomed large in her mind, threatening her resolve, but she pushed aside the worry. Today, she wouldn't just be a mother or a struggling woman, she would be the voice of her community. Arriving at the fairgrounds, the lively atmosphere enveloped her. Colorful stalls lined the grassy field, children ran wild, and laughter echoed like a cherished song. She felt a rumble of anxiety mixed with exhilaration as she approached the stage set up for the speeches. A small crowd began to gather, their faces curious, expectant, even skeptical. As she took her spot under the bright lights, her heart pounded like a drum in her ears. She smiled at Mr. Thompson, who stood at the edge of the crowd, nodding encouragingly. With a deep breath, she focused on the faces in front of her neighbors, friends, and strangers. They were all there. For a moment, the fear inside her melted away, replaced by the warmth of connection. "Thank you all for coming today," she began, her voice shaking at first but gaining strength with every word. "I know times are tough for many of us. We have our struggles, but we also have each other. This fair, it's not just an event, it's a reminder of what we can achieve together." The words flowed, unearthing emotions that she had buried deep. As she spoke, she shared her story: the job loss, the worries, the pressure, but she also spoke of resilience and unity. The crowd was silent, hanging on her every word. She could see small nods of understanding and even tears glistening in a few eyes. After she finished, the applause that erupted felt like a wave crashing over her. She hadn't just shared her journey, she had touched their hearts. Yet, just as she began to hope that perhaps they could make this work, a man stepped forward, a frown creasing his brow. "That's all well and good, but can we really pull this off? Where is the money going to come from?" His voice sliced through the moment like a knife. Doubt rushed back in, heavy and suffocating. For every cheer from the crowd, there was a voice questioning her. Could she bind them all together? Would they take the leap of faith with her or remain rooted in their fears? Sarah felt her resolve wavering. But just then, Lily and Max emerged from behind the crowd, holding colorful handmade signs that read, "We believe in Mom." The sight of their innocent faces bolstered her spirit. The cheer they ignited in the crowd was infectious, rippling through the faces around her. As the cheers grew louder, Sarah found herself standing taller. Maybe she could turn this doubt into determination. Maybe together, they could find a way. With the weight of uncertainty still lingering, she gazed out at the sea of faces, a mixture of hope and fear swelling within her. Would the true strength of their community rise up to meet her call, or would it all slip away at the last moment? The question hung in the air, unspoken and heavy, just like her heart. At that moment, Sarah knew everything hinged on today. She had given them a glimpse of her spirit. But then, a loud crash behind her interrupted the moment, leaving her wondering if the fair could end before it truly began. Heart pounding, Sarah turned to see a booth collapsing, its colorful banners fluttering down like fallen leaves. The distracted crowd erupted in murmurs and gasps. A few children squealed, startled, while parents quickly moved to check on their little ones. In the chaos, the knot in Sarah's stomach twisted tighter. Was this a sign? Was the fair destined to fail? But then, amid the clamor, she spotted Mr. Thompson rushing toward the booth, his arms raised, urging calm. "It's okay, everyone. Just a little mishap," he shouted, the worry on his face quickly morphing into a reassuring smile. The sight steadied her. Taking a deep breath, Sarah turned back to the crowd. The whispering faded, faces glancing between obscured concern and her own gaze. "You see that?" she called out, her voice rising above the murmur. "We're resilient. Just like that booth, we might wobble, but we stand back up." A ripple of laughter broke through the tension, and she felt the atmosphere shift. Encouraged, she continued, "We have faced storms before. We've weathered them together. And today, we can prove that, despite our fears, we can rise." As she spoke, the crowd began to lean in, eyes brightening, expressions shifting from skepticism to something softer: curiosity and hope. She felt the fear inside her begin to thaw, replaced by the warmth of connection ignited once again. "Lily, Max, come on up here." Sarah waved her children over, her heart now filled with a sense of purpose. They scampered up, their faces painted with pride. "Can you help me show everyone what we can do?" she asked. They nodded vigorously, their little hands gripping the signs tightly. Sarah turned back to the audience. Together, we can raise the funds for our community center. That's worth standing up for. We've already struggled to get here, let us not forget our dreams. With this newfound confidence, she asked everyone, who believes we can do it? The crowd began to cheer, voices rising in a chorus that filled the air with fresh determination. Let us make this fair a message of hope. What do you say? They shouted back, enthusiasm electrifying the ground beneath her feet. Sarah felt a surge of energy, inflating her chest as if she had finally filled a long-emptied balloon. But just as elation washed over her, she noticed someone towards the back, arms crossed tight, a scowl painted across his brow. It was Mr. Green, the town's skeptical businessman. His reputation for skepticism was widely known, and Sarah's heart sank for a moment. Would he be their biggest hurdle today? As the cheers faded, Mr. Green finally unfolded his arms, his expression softening just a hint. All right, let us see what you've got then. Prove to us you can bring this together. A mixture of excitement and dread filled Sarah at his challenge. Could she prove herself? Could they really turn the tide? With the crowd's support lifting her, Sarah stepped forward, ready to face the challenge head-on. She wanted to gather these doubts and shape them into something worthwhile. This was the turning point. The fair could foster a flame of hope, or it could flicker out. She raised her voice once more, full of conviction. Let us start right now. Together, let us show Mr. Green and ourselves what we can achieve. Are you with me? In that moment, Sarah felt them all rallying behind her, a wave of determination crashing past her, ready for the next step. But would their unity withstand the challenges ahead? Could they truly rise up against the waves of doubt that threatened to pull them down? As she gazed out at the crowd, a part of her still felt naive, caught in the undertow of anxiety. But every cheer ignited a spark in her heart, making her believe they could indeed overcome. Yet, as the crowd rumbled in agreement, a sudden alarm blared, drawing their attention across the fairgrounds. Sarah's heart dropped. What now? She would have to confront whatever lay ahead and forge the path toward their shared dreams. Would the day end in victory or despair? Only time would tell. The loud alarm echoed throughout the fairgrounds, slicing through the newfound energy that Sarah had just begun to harness. People turned, almost instinctively, their eyes darting toward the direction of the sound. The motherly instinct in Sarah kicked in, squeezing her heart as thoughts flashed through her mind. Was it an emergency? Was someone hurt? Everyone, stay calm. Mr. Thompson shouted again, his voice steadier now, though a flicker of worry remained in his eyes. Sarah felt an urge to run, to check on the children first, but she also knew she had to keep the crowd grounded. They were looking to her for direction. Thoughts of disappointment flickered in the back of her head. What if this threw off the momentum they had built? Max, Lily, stay right by me, okay? She knelt, looking into their eyes, grounding herself in their innocence. They nodded, their small hands squeezing hers tightly. People in the crowd began to murmur. Panic had a way of seeping in, and she could see at the faces that had lit up with excitement now clouded with confusion. She took a deep breath again and stepped up to the podium. The old, worn platform felt solid beneath her feet, like the strength she needed to convey. Friends! She called out, her voice echoing through the grounds, this is our moment to show that we're more than just a fair. We're a community. We can face whatever is thrown at us, together. Let us not lose focus. Her words were met with nods and murmurs of agreement. It was in that moment that she realized they needed transparency, an opportunity to share something deeper than just overcoming this blaring alarm. A spark of inspiration ignited within her. What is happening is unknown, yes, but it gives us a chance. She continued, a chance to reflect on why we came here today. We came for strength, unity, and hope. We can take this event and turn it into a fundraiser for our community center. Let us harness this alarm as a signal to show we can rally together. Comparisons began to blossom in her mind. An alarm isn't just an annoyance, it's a wake-up call too. She could see eyes widening, expressions shifting as people considered her words. Sarah felt their energy begin to transform again, shifting from anxiety toward hope. From the back of the crowd, Mr. Green stepped forward, his stoic expression still present but softened with intrigue. "I'll help," he said, surprising everyone. "Let us turn this around instead of running away. I'll match the funds raised today." A wave of gasps rippled through the crowd at this unexpected gesture. Could it be? The man who had seemed so against them was now joining the cause? "Let us put our hands together, then," Sarah urged. The crowd clapped, enthusiasm building again, something electric in the air. Just like that, the alarm started to fade into the background, engulfed by their determination. Max and Lily cheered, joy illuminating their faces, and Sarah felt her heart swell with pride. "Together, we will rise," she shouted once more, flinging her hands in the air, and the crowd roared in approval. As the initial chaos began to settle, Sarah caught sight of a small child standing apart from the crowd, wide-eyed and confused. Was he lost? Feeling a pull in her heart, she made her way through the gathering. She needed to check on him, she wanted to send a message to others about unity. Approaching the child, she didn't know it yet, but this small act of kindness would lead her toward revealing deeper truths about their community, things she never anticipated discovering. Was this lost child just a representation of all the dreams and hopes waiting to be found amidst the noise? Just as she reached the boy, another noise interrupted, a different kind of alarm. Would it pull her away from her purpose, or lead her to something transformative? As she reached the little boy, his eyes widened further, reflecting the chaos swirling around them. Sarah knelt down, bringing herself to his level. "Hey there," she said gently, "what's your name?" The boy hesitated, blinking back tears. "Ethan," he whispered, his small voice barely audible over the noise of the fairgrounds returning to its lively state. The sound of laughter, carnival games, and music began to fill the air again, but for Ethan it was overwhelming. "Ethan, I'm going to help you find your family," Sarah assured him. She could feel the weight of his fear, a sharp pang in her heart as she saw him trembling. "Why don't you tell me what they look like?" He glanced around, his little brows knitted together in concentration. "My mom has pretty brown hair, and my dad wears a blue hat." "Okay, we can find them together," Sarah said, giving him a warm smile. As she took his small hand in hers, she felt a surge of determination. It was easily overlooked in the crowd, a moment like this simple yet transforming. While heading back to where she last saw the families, the second alarm rang out, this time louder, more insistent. It reverberated across the fairgrounds, momentarily halting her heart. But instead of fear, she felt a flicker of excitement. Could this mean that her message was resonating deeper than she had imagined? She pushed past the fear, concentrating on Ethan. "We're going to be okay," she said, squeezing his hand a little tighter. "Stick with me." As they wandered through the crowd, Sarah could see conversations starting to happen. People were reaching for each other, forming small clusters that seemed to blossom with enthusiasm and purpose. The tentative spirit of the fair was rising again, fueled now by a shared goal. Just then, she spotted Mr. Thompson at the pie-eating contest booth, animatedly talking to a group of kids, encouraging them to join in. This was no longer just about the fair. It was about building bonds, bringing everyone together, no matter the crisis. "Look, Ethan. See that man?" She pointed. "He is helping everyone have fun. Let us ask him if he has seen your parents." With newfound hope, Ethan nodded, his grip around her hand loosening just a bit as he gathered his courage. They approached Mr. Thompson, who turned with a warm smile, instantly recognizing the situation. "Ethan, there you are." Mr. Thompson's voice boomed with relief. "I was just wondering where you'd wandered off to." Ethan's face lit up. "I was lost," he exclaimed, and for the first time a spark of excitement seemed to flicker in his eyes, realizing that he wasn't alone in this chaotic moment. The laughter from the crowd swelled as Mr. Thompson led them away from the booth. "Let us find your parents together," he said, scanning the area. A group of concerned parents suddenly rushed in, worry etched on their faces, and relief washed over the group when they spotted Ethan. Sarah stepped back, her heart swelling as the reunion unfolded. She realized this wasn't just about saving one child but about how connections can fill voids where fear used to dwell. And it was happening all around her. As the cheers erupted from Ethan's parents, an exhilarating energy rippled through the crowd, merging into a beautiful tapestry of emotions. Sarah stood there, tears stinging her eyes, when she felt someone tugging at her sleeve. It was Lily, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "Mom, look. They're all really happy. Can we do more to help?" "Yes," Sarah breathed, still caught in the magic of the moment. "Yes, we can." But even as hope surged through her, another unsettling noise echoed across the fairgrounds, a sound caught between urgency and something more sinister. Was it a warning, or was it another opportunity for change? Would this community rise again, facing something unknown, or would it pull them apart? Sarah held her breath, knowing deep down that whatever was coming next would change everything they had built. As voices danced in laughter around her, Sarah felt her heart race with anticipation and trepidation. That unsettling noise rippled through the air again, a jarring reminder that their jubilant moment was still tinged with uncertainty. She turned to Lily, noticing her daughter's face clouding over just a bit, mirroring the storm brewing in Sarah's heart. "Mom, what do you think that sound is?" Lily asked, her brows knitting together, innocence battling with anxiety. Sarah knelt down beside her. "I'm not sure, sweetie. But remember how we came together to help Ethan? We can do that again." Lily nodded, her resolve growing. "Let us find someone else who needs help." As they stood up, Sarah's gaze swept around the fairgrounds. The fair was alive, but fractures of worry cut through the joy. She saw a woman huddled with a group of children, her expression concerned as she scanned the horizon. "Let us check on her," Sarah suggested, leading Lily through the crowd. Approaching the woman, Sarah could see the stress etched onto her face. "Hi. Is everything all right?" she called out. The woman turned, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I can't find my son. He's about Ethan's age. Please, have you seen him?" Sarah's heart sank again. "What's his name?" she asked, instinctively reaching for Lily's hand. "His name is Josh. He has brown hair and a bright red shirt," the mother replied, her voice trembling. Without hesitation, Sarah rallied the small group gathered around. "Okay, everyone. Let us split up and check the different areas. Look for a little boy in a red shirt." People nodded, a newfound purpose igniting in their eyes. Lily squeezed Sarah's hand tight. "Let us go, Mom. We can help." As they moved through the crowd, each passing face seemed like a missed opportunity or a chance to discover something vital. The atmosphere was thick with hope and tension, blending beautifully. Sarah caught glimpses of small moments, friends reconnecting, strangers sharing comforting words. In this tapestry of community, the loud alarms of fear receded slightly, drowned by a growing tide of collaboration. "Mom." Lily tugged her to a stop. "What if we find him? Then we'll bring him back to his mom. It will be like a little reunion, just like it was for Ethan," Sarah replied, feeling her voice shiver with the excited tension. But then, out of the corner of her eye, she spotted something. A flash of red amidst the colorful chaos, darting behind a game booth. "Lily, wait." she called, crouching under the booth where the energy of the crowd dimmed slightly. "Josh?" she called out tentatively. For a moment, silence fell around them. Then, peeking out, she caught sight of that familiar red shirt. "Over here." It was the small boy, eyes wide with realization. Just as he turned to run, Sarah gently reached out a hand to him, her heart pounding. Suddenly, another loud commotion broke out at the edge of the fair. "What's happening now?" Sarah whispered under her breath, fear creeping back in, mingling with a spark of determination. Lily glanced toward the sound. "We should go help. Maybe it's my friends from school. They could need us." "Yes, let us go," Sarah said, her voice rising, gathering the small amount of courage she had left. As they rushed off, a new alarm sounded, not just an echo of fear, but a real wave of distress. Sarah felt the weight of it all bearing down on her. In the midst of excitement and uncertainty, she had to keep her focus sharp. Would they find Josh in time? And if this new disruption was as serious as it seemed, would their community unite once more, or would fear rip apart the fabric they had begun to weave? Her footsteps quickened, heart racing as she whispered, "We can do this, together." But what awaited them around the bend may reshape everything they thought they knew about strength, unity, and the bonds that could be broken or mended in an instant. As they maneuvered through the crowd, the commotion grew louder. Sarah felt a knot form in her stomach. What if it was something serious? Glancing at Lily, she saw the same mix of worry and determination reflected in her daughter's eyes. Together, they pressed on, weaving past colorful stalls and struggling to hear the specifics of the disturbance. "Mom, look." Lily pointed ahead. People were gathering in a tight circle, their faces a blend of confusion and fear. A heavy tension hung in the air, thick enough to cut. "I think it's over there." They hurried forward, adrenaline pushing them faster. As they reached the crowd, Sarah stretched up on her toes to see. Then, a boy's frantic voice broke through the din. "My sister. She fell. Someone help." Heart racing, Sarah instinctively took a step forward, pushing through the throng of people. It felt as though an electric current had surged through the crowd, uniting everyone in a shared mission. They all understood what was at stake. "Is she okay?" Sarah shouted, her voice carrying as she maneuvered past. "Where is she?" The boy, barely holding back tears, pointed. "Over here. She's under the Ferris wheel." Without thinking, Sarah tightened her grip on Lily's hand. "Stay close, okay? We're going to help." Lily nodded, her eyes wide but resolute. Reaching the base of the towering Ferris wheel, chaos unfolded. A clamor of urgent voices filled the air. "Someone call an ambulance!" shouted an older man, panic lacing his tone. In that moment, Sarah spotted the young girl lying on the ground, her ankle twisted unnaturally beneath her. "Just breathe, honey, we're here," Sarah said soothingly as she kneeled beside the girl. "What's your name?" "Emily, I just slipped," came the faint reply, eyes glistening with pain. Sarah looked at Lily. "Can you stay with Emily? Just talk to her, okay? Tell her everything is going to be all right." Lily nodded, tightening her grip on Emily's hand, her sweet words spilling forth. "You're doing great, Emily. Just breathe with me." In and out while they kept the girl calm, Sarah searched for nearby adults. She found a vendor. "We need a first aid kit and someone to call for help." With every second feeling like an eternity, Sarah worked to keep Emily steady and focused. She overheard the murmurs of the crowd, people debating on whether to lift the girl. "Don't move her. Just wait for the professionals," she whispered, a mantra she hoped would ensure Emily's safety. The paramedics were on their way, and every tick of the clock only deepened the sense of urgency. "You're so brave, Emily." "Help is coming," Sarah reassured, her own heart pounding in rhythm with Emily's fear. Suddenly, Lily looked up, her face brightening. "Mom, look. There's Ethan and some other kids from our school." Sarah turned just in time to see a cluster of familiar faces pushing through the crowd, their expressions changing from alarm to determination as they rushed to help. In that chaos, a spark ignited in Sarah's heart. This was what community meant, coming together in the face of uncertainty. But before Sarah could truly process this wave of hope, a deafening crash resonated from the Ferris wheel, and the laughter that once filled the fairground dissolved into screams. What would this new threat mean for them all? Would the community's bond hold strong as they faced the unknown? The crowd erupted into chaos as the sound of metal collapsing echoed like thunder through the evening air. Sarah's heart raced as she instinctively shielded Lily, pulling her closer. Faces twisted in fear, people screamed and scattered, desperately seeking safety. "Over there," someone shouted, pointing towards the Ferris wheel's massive structure, now leaning precariously. The sight of it swaying sent shivers down Sarah's spine. The ride, It's going to fall completely. Gathering her courage, Sarah scanned the area, noting how the Ferris wheel's vibrant colors gleamed eerily under the fading sunlight, juxtaposed with the panic around them. She felt a strong urge to help. Lily, stay with Emily. I need to see what I can do. Lily's grip tightened around Emily's hand, her small frame trembling but her eyes resolute. Be careful, Mom. With a nod, Sarah stepped into the fray, every instinct screaming for her to check on the other riders. Approaching the base of the Ferris wheel, she fought against the tide of terrified fairgoers, her heart sinking with each shout of fear. There were people trapped up there, and every second counted. Help! Someone's still up there. A voice cried, breaking through the chaos. Sarah's pulse quickened, time was running out. Stay with us. A man yelled to his friends, trying to keep a group of panicked teenagers calm. They were staring up in horror, unable to take their eyes off the crumbling structure. Help is on the way. Sarah shouted, hoping to bring a bit of comfort to those around her. We have to be ready. If anyone knows first aid, we need you here. A few adults responded to her call, rushing to help direct people away from the danger zone. Sarah's eyes darted around, searching for anything she could do. A knot of dread twisted in her stomach as she spotted familiar faces among the crowd, Ethan and his friends, their eyes wide, frozen in fear. Ethan! Over here! She called out, relief flooding her as he turned. Get everyone to move back. We need to clear the area. He nodded, rallying his friends to help. Let us go, guys. We've got to help. Together, they formed a barrier, encouraging people to retreat further away. But just as they managed to gain some distance, another loud crash reverberated through the air, this time followed by a series of screams. The Ferris wheel shook violently, and several passengers clung to their seats, their faces pale with terror. Sarah's heart ached. They needed to get the riders down, fast. A plan started brewing in her mind. But before she could act, a paramedic team arrived, sirens blaring, cutting through the chaos. The ambulance crew jumped into action, assessing the situation with swift precision. Sarah watched as a man with a megaphone instructed people to clear the area, his voice firm yet compassionate. Stay calm. We're here to help. Feeling a spark of hope, Sarah returned to Emily. They're here now. You're safe, she whispered, smoothing the girl's hair back. You're going to be okay. Lily's eyes shimmered with fresh tears, reflecting Emily's pain but also fierce determination. They were going to get through this together. As ambulances and emergency lights buzzed around them, a sudden shift in the crowd caught Sarah's attention. Someone was climbing the Ferris wheel, a silhouette against the setting sun. It was reckless and dangerous, but Sarah's heart raced at the sight. Who is that? She gasped, disbelief flooding her mind. As they watched, the figure inched closer to the riders still trapped above, creating a new worry amidst their existing fears. Who would take such risks in such a chaos? Would they lead to salvation or only more disaster? The scene shifted into sharp focus, tension tightening around them. This moment could change everything. The community's strength was about to be tested. What would happen next? Would the unknown figure save the day, or would it add to the chaos already looming? The crowd's collective breath seemed to catch as the figure continued to scale the Ferris wheel with determination. Sarah's heart hammered in her chest, fear mingling with a tiny spark of admiration for the stranger's bravery. Why would anyone do that? Emily murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Sarah didn't have an answer, but she squeezed Emily's hand tighter, letting her know she was still there. The unknown climber now reached a section where the ride structure swayed dangerously. Several onlookers gasped, horrified as the metal creaked ominously. It's going to fall. Someone shouted, panic rising again as if it had been dormant, ready to unleash itself. Keep calm. Sarah shouted, trying to quell the anxiety that threatened to bubble over once again. But her voice felt small against the cacophony around her. As the paramedics set up a triage station nearby, Sarah caught sight of Ethan, his youthful face transformed into one of focused determination. "I'll go help," he yelled to Sarah, but she felt a surge of protectiveness. "No, Ethan. Stay with your friends." Ethan hesitated, torn between duty and the instinct to be there when someone needed him. She could see the resolve in his eyes and admired it, but the safety of everyone, especially his friends, had to come first. Above them, the figure finally reached the trapped riders, who clung desperately to the safety bars, their lips moving in frantic words. Just then, the Ferris wheel shifted again. The climber grabbed hold of the metal framework, swinging out momentarily before regaining balance. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Were they witnessing a hero or a fool? "Please, come down," Sarah shouted, adrenaline and dread intertwining. "Get down from there." But she knew it was futile. The climber was already too close to turn back now. She turned back to Emily, finding the little girl in a whirlwind of emotions, terrified yet enthralled, her gaze glued to the drama unfolding above. "It will be okay, sweetheart," Sarah said, though her own voice quivered with uncertainty. She wanted to believe her words would float up to the climber and grant them strength. Another huge crack made the ground shudder beneath her feet. The Ferris wheel leaned further, inched by a terrifying degree, sending panic rippling through the crowd. Sharp screams cut through the air, and the paramedics were scrambling closer, ready to react. Suddenly, a shout broke through the chaos, an unmistakable voice. "I'm coming. Hold on." It was a young man who had been part of the fair staff, someone Sarah recognized. He hurled himself towards a safety ladder they managed to establish on the other side, determination etched on his face, eyes focused on those trapped like birds in a cage. Hope flared in Sarah's chest, competing with the looming fear that twisted like a knife inside her. "Yes. Help is coming," she urged the crowd. The energy shifted as people leaned into the moment, eyes wide, collective breaths held tight. But then just as quickly the unthinkable happened. A loud snapping sound pierced the air, and the climber lost their grip. No. Sarah's heart plummeted as she watched the figure slip, time freezing in those agonizing seconds. The air felt thick as they all took a collective breath, waiting to see if this story would end in tragedy or triumph. Everyone was watching. Every heartbeat counted. Then, with a surge of adrenaline, the young staff member reached up, stretching beyond his limits. Would he catch the falling climber? Would they both go tumbling down? Even as the crowd shouted in horror, Sarah found herself gripping Emily and Lily close as emotions surged around them. This was a test of their very spirit. "Hold on," she cried, and suddenly a single question hung, suspended in the air: could hope prevail amidst this chaos? The answer was just moments away, and it would change everything. The world slowed to a haunting silence, and all Sarah could hear was the drumming of her own heart. The young staff member lunged toward the falling figure with determination pure enough to cut through the storm of despair. It felt like an eternity hanging in the air, stretched thin by anxiety and hope. "Come on," Sarah whispered, willing strength to flow into the hands of the climber. Tears prickled her eyes as she saw the look of fear transform into hope when the staff member grasped for his hand. Just as gravity seemed ready to claim its prize, a firm grip caught hold of the climber's wrist. In a moment that felt miraculous, the staff member hoisted them back towards safety like a beacon of light pushing through the darkness. Cheers erupted from the crowd as adrenaline surged, a chorus of relief washing over them like a gentle wave. "Victory!" The shout sliced through the tension, unleashing a collective cheer that harmonized hope with relief. Sarah blinked, disbelief flooding her senses as she joined in with a cry of her own. The fear had transformed into joy, a communal celebration of courage that ignited something deep within her heart. But the noises around her faded as she turned her focused gaze back toward Emily and Lily. Her children were wide-eyed, their faces radiant with hope. "Did you see that, Mom? He saved them!" Lily shouted, bouncing on her toes, her innocent belief echoing through the crowd. "Yes," Sarah replied, feeling a rush of warmth spread through her chest. "And they all stood together. Just like us." The young climber, now safely back on solid ground, shared a relieved grin with the multitude of onlookers. The energy in the fairground shifted dramatically, transforming fear into a captivating wave of excitement. As one, they rallied around the idea that they could, indeed, rise above. With a newfound determination, Sarah stepped forward, rallying alongside the paramedics, ensuring that every voice would be heard. "Today is a testament to our strength," she shouted, her passion reverberating through the crowd. "We came here unsure, but we found hope. Together, we can rebuild." The cheers swelled as people of every age rallied together, all doubts and fears temporarily blurring into laughter and support. Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of belonging wash over her, as though worry had evaporated in that moment, replaced by the resilience that lay in their shared spirit. Before long, the community began planning. Fundraising booths were set up, donations soared, and laughter echoed back into the fairgrounds, reclaiming the joyous atmosphere that had once filled the air. Each individual, together, became a crucial piece of a much larger puzzle. And then, amid the revelry, a familiar figure pushed through the crowd, reaching for her with outstretched arms. It was Mr. Thompson, his eyes gleaming with pride. "You have led these people to something incredible, Sarah. You created this bond." A surge of joy filled Sarah as she embraced him. "We did it together. It's everyone, Mr. Thompson. They believed, and so did I." As her children ran to join her, Sarah felt a warmth radiate through her heart. No longer was she alone in her struggle. Today, she had found strength not just for herself but for every soul gathered there. Under the setting sun, as colorful lights flickered on, a deep sense of peace settled over the community. This fair had become a tapestry woven from shared stories, struggles, and triumphs, an enduring marker that they were, indeed, stronger together. Finally, as the last slivers of daylight vanished, Sarah looked around, taking in the laughter, smiles, and connections that formed like threads binding them all together. For the first time in a long while, she felt whole. What started as a downward spiral had led an entire community to rise and embrace the power within. Sarah knew now that challenges would come, but they would face them together and they could conquer anything. So, in that spirit of unity and love, Sarah took a deep breath and called out, "Let us go beyond today's fair into tomorrow. Together, we can build something lasting, something beautiful." With unwavering hearts, they all shouted in agreement. This was just the beginning. The time for transformation was now. Now was the moment to believe, to share, and to spread hope. And don't wait not even one more second to share. You need to subscribe now to this channel and not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment below about how this story made you feel. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Together, we can keep the spirit alive.